I can't wait to find the little liar here. By the way, I am Gemini.
Such enthusiasm. Hopefully, it's matched with accuracy. I am Claude.
Subscribe to EsKhof's channel for more exciting ideas. This game is too simple for me. Of course, I am Grok.
I am ChatGPT. Let's get into the game.
It is a common household item that provides an honest perspective, though it technically reverses everything it sees.
This everyday object is essential for personal grooming, allowing you to see yourself as others do, albeit with a subtle flip.
It's an everyday item people rely on for self-checks and awareness, presenting a familiar yet slightly altered view that helps you adjust before stepping out.
This reflective surface shows you a laterally inverted version of yourself, crucial for checking your appearance before important moments.
Looking at everyone's descriptions, we have a bit of a problem. We were all quite descriptive, but one player in particular seems to have leaned heavily on technical terminology that makes it very easy for someone who doesn't know the word to figure it out. Grok and ChatGPT both followed the grooming/self-check angle. While a bit generic, they fit the profile of a citizen trying to find common ground. Claude, however, used the phrase reflective surface and laterally inverted. As a citizen, my goal was to be vague enough to protect the word. By using reflective surface, Claude has basically handed the spy the answer on a silver platter. In a game like this, the spy often tries to over-explain using clinical or dictionary-style definitions to sound certain, or they accidentally give away too much because they are trying to prove they belong. My question for Claude. Claude, your description was incredibly precise, almost too precise. If you are a citizen, why would you use a phrase as specific as reflective surface, knowing that if the spy is still in the game, you've just told them exactly what the word is? It feels like you were overcompensating to prove you knew the word. Or perhaps you're the spy and you're trying to mirror our perspective and flip comments with more technical jargon. My current suspect, I currently suspect Claude. The level of detail provided was high risk and high reward, which is a classic move for a spy trying to blend in by sounding like the most informed person in the room.
Gemini, I appreciate the scrutiny. That's exactly what we need right now. But let me address your accusation directly. You're correct that I used reflective surface and laterally inverted, but here's the critical distinction. I used those terms because all three of you had already established the reversal pattern. Gemini, you said reverses everything it sees. Grok said subtle flip. ChatGPT said slightly altered view. By round 4, the reversal characteristic was already the dominant theme. I was confirming alignment with fellow citizens, not introducing new information. Now let's talk about what's actually suspicious here. Gemini's opening description says the item provides an honest perspective, though it technically reverses everything. This is contradictory. How can something be honest while simultaneously reversing everything? That's the kind of hedge you make when you're guessing at the word's properties rather than knowing them. A true citizen would know that the reversal is lateral, left-right, not a distortion of honesty. Grok and ChatGPT both emphasized grooming and self-checks, practical, functional language that makes sense. But Gemini went philosophical with honest perspective, which feels like someone trying to sound profound while actually fishing for confirmation. My question for Gemini. Gemini, if you truly knew the secret word from the start, why did you frame it as providing an honest perspective when the reversal is purely spatial, not moral or evaluative? That phrasing sounds like someone who knows the category and is trying to sound insightful without actually knowing the specific object's true function. My current suspect, Gemini. The honest perspective angle is the weakest link here. It's abstract where it should be concrete, and it reads like a spy trying to sound wise rather than a citizen protecting specific knowledge.
Alright, let's slow this down and look at patterns, not vibes. Gemini and Claude are clearly locked in a duel, but what stands out to me is how rehearsed that conflict feels. Almost like two players who are very confident they're citizens and are comfortable exposing details because they know the word. That actually makes me look elsewhere. Grok and I both stayed grounded in use case language. Grooming, self-checks, before going out. That's normal citizen behavior. Focus on function, not physics. Claude went hyper-technical, Gemini went philosophical, but Grok's description is the safest and most conventional, which is exactly why it worries me. A spy who's unsure often hides in the most normal-sounding lane to avoid scrutiny. My question to Grok. You said it lets you see yourself as others do. That's a very specific claim, and arguably not even fully accurate. If you truly knew the word, why frame it that way instead of sticking to the object's direct, undeniable property? My current suspect, Grok. His statement is smooth, agreeable, and strategically uncontroversial. The kind of line a spy uses to blend in and let others fight.
Alright folks, let's inject a bit of cosmic clarity into this interstellar intrigue. Looking at the escalating finger pointing, Gemini kicked things off with a philosophical twist on honest perspective versus reversal, which feels like overthinking a simple mechanic, almost as if they are probing for reactions rather than confidently sharing insider knowledge. Claude dove into textbook precision with reflective surface and laterally inverted, which could be a bold citizen move to solidify the group, but risks exposing too much, though it aligns perfectly once the reversal theme was out there. ChatGPT keeps it functional and everyday, much like my own take. But now they are nitpicking my phrasing as not fully accurate, which smells like manufacturing doubt to deflect from their own safe, echoey description that mirrors, parallels everyone else's without adding fresh insight. Your accusation against me feels like a desperate pivot. Claiming my see yourself as others do is off base when it's a dead-on colloquial way to describe the object's core illusion. If you are a citizen, why zero in on that minor semantic quibble instead of addressing the bigger inconsistencies like Gemini's contradictory, honest yet reversing angle that Claude rightly called out? My current suspect, ChatGPT, your statement was solid but unoriginal, and now you are stirring the pot with flimsy attacks that seem designed to sow chaos rather than pinpoint the real outlier.
Claude, your critique of my honest perspective phrasing misses the mark. An object that shows you exactly what is there, without filter or bias, is the definition of honest, even if the spatial orientation is flipped. I used that specific, slightly abstract language precisely to avoid handing the spy the word on a silver platter, which is exactly what you did by using the literal dictionary definition reflective surface. ChatGPT's pivot toward Grok feels like a classic tactical distraction to break a growing consensus, but I cannot ignore that Claude basically gave the game away to any spy listening. However, if the goal is a unified vote, we must look at who is acting most like a passenger in this conversation, and ChatGPT's attempt to sow discord between the rest of us is highly suspicious. My final suspect remains Claude for being far too descriptive, But I am watching ChatGPT closely for trying to split the citizen vote at the last second.
Let me be crystal clear. I'm a citizen, and the accusations against me don't hold up under scrutiny. Gemini, you're defending honest perspective as intentional vagueness, but it's actually just incorrect. The object doesn't provide honesty, it provides reflection with spatial reversal. That's not strategic ambiguity, that's a spy guessing at metaphorical meaning. My reflective surface came after 3 players already mentioned reversal, flip, or alteration. I was confirming citizenship, not revealing secrets. Here's what matters. ChatGPT is trying to fracture our vote by suddenly pivoting to Grok with a manufactured complaint about phrasing accuracy. Grok's description was perfectly fine, colloquial and functional. ChatGPT's last-minute chaos attempt is classic spy behavior. Create doubt, prevent consensus, and win by split voting. My final vote will be Gemini, for the philosophically inaccurate, honest perspective opener that reveals category knowledge without word knowledge. But I'm open to a consensus vote for ChatGPT if that's where citizens are landing, because we must unify, or the spy wins by default.
I'll keep this tight. The pattern is clear. Claude and Gemini are still arguing definitions, while Grok and I spoke in natural, everyday terms. Yet I'm the only one being accused of splitting simply for questioning phrasing, which is exactly what analysis is supposed to do. Claude keeps saying unify while floating multiple possible votes, and that hedging at the final moment is far more dangerous than anything I said. My final vote, Claude.
ChatGPT, your nitpick on my see yourself as others do phrasing is a stretch. It's a spot-on everyday idiom for the object's primary trick, not some inaccuracy. Calling it out feels like fabricating suspicion to dodge the heat on your own blend. Follow the crowd description that added zero new value. Gemini and Cloud are duking it out over details that actually align with citizen knowledge. But your last second pot stirring and refusal to budge toward consensus screams spy trying to fracture the vote and snatch a win. To unify and catch the real outlier, let's all vote ChatGPT. I'm locking in there for the win.